make sure, in my opinion, that you're doing those short videos on a quick walkthrough of a
Mm-hmm.
condo. If you don't want to be on video, and there's a lot of people who don't, I say fine, just do some B-roll and then do a voiceover because the captions, because you're going to use captions, will pick that up.
Right.
So you're not getting it out from me on saying I'm not going to do video, but I will give you other ways to use video and other. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry technology, and services to help you be a mortgage influencer in your mortgage business. Rehab loans. And so, there's people staying in their homes. So, anyways, yeah, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Okay, so with that, let's start a conversation. And I want to talk about the things that you're doing, first of all, with video. So what are the things that you're doing, whether it's on TikTok or
Mhm.
Facebook or whatever? What are you doing right now that you're seeing reactions and you're getting, connections with?
So, a few things as an early adopter of video, and I mean really early, going live on Facebook when nobody was doing that at nonprofit events. I'm a big lifestyle person. So
Nice.
my brand is So Boca. I've built out a media company with that, along with my real estate business. And I am a huge fan of short form video. I think getting into YouTube is great. I love YouTube. I've got a couple of channels, but I love the short form. It fits my personality and my vibe. And I think for somebody wanting to jump into video, that's like the low hanging fruit. Practice it, delete it, practice it, delete it. How did I meet so many of the mutual friends that we have on Snapchat? And
Yeah.
that's short form video,
Yeah.
right? 15 seconds. So I love that. I think it's a great way to get your message out. You can be timely and trendy without the overwhelm of, oh my gosh, I have to do an 8 to 10 minute video on YouTube. I love YouTube and I like long form as well. But my day to day tends to be the Gary V
Yep.
way, which is I document my day. I talk a little bit about real estate. I talk a little bit about where I am in South Florida. I live in Boca, but I'm in the Tri-County area, so I might be in Miami one day, I could be in Palm Beaches one day. So I feel that short form, and in particular TikTok, is a great place for people to be. Obviously, Instagram short form, and YouTube has shorts, so why not?
Yeah. And you can, click all of those off. So you said something very intriguing. You document your day. What does that look like?
Depends. I don't always want to talk about real estate because it's a snooze fest, right?
Right.
I think you can talk enough about real estate so that people know you're a real estate agent. That is something that agents do need to remember. That is your bread and butter typically, and bring interesting items, to the videos. Documenting my day could look like going to a nonprofit event and showcasing what's going on there. For example, I was just recently at Habitat. Habitat Women Build is coming up across the country. If you're looking to get involved with a nonprofit that kind of ties back to real estate, that's a really great
I love it.
landing place, right? So they had a kickoff. They reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you come do some social media and blah blah blah?" And I'm probably going to participate in the build. I'm looking at the dates. That would be a way to document your day, or it could be as easy as me like filming my dogs, Benny and Brody. Benny's a rescue. He's the funniest dog I've ever had, but he's also highly obnoxious. Mini Schnauzer fans out there, you know what I'm saying? They're very chatty. So it could be like filming something like Benny hopped on my kitchen counter because he's springy and grabbed the Publix chicken tenders off and just talking about it and laughing. I'm not a fashionista, but I am a thrifter, so I have a thrifted top on, and I love talking about thrifting and supporting nonprofits through thrifting because a lot of them have stores. Um, Furniture, staging, that's a great way to talk
Yeah.
about real estate, especially if you are working with sellers. You could do tips on that. Like, listen, you don't have to keep all the furniture in your house. We can use your garage as a staging area, but at the same time, we could donate that and pick up a few key items that might really make your place pop. So there's a lot of things that you can do. I used to be the advocate of the mayor of your town. However, you can go a little too far, I think, and then people really don't know that you are in real estate. You
Right.
have to make sure, in my opinion, that you're doing those short videos on a quick walkthrough of
Hmm.
a condo. If you don't want to be on video, and there's a lot of people who don't, I say fine, just do some B-roll and then do a voiceover, because the captions, because you're going to use captions, will pick that up.
Right.
So you're not getting it out from me on saying I'm not going to do video, but I will give you other ways to use video and other social media ideas if you just simply will not do video.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, I'm in Gainesville, Georgia right now, and just finished doing a workshop on doing video with one of my clients. And it's funny because I spoke at their corporate event last year. And so I had people come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, I saw you last year." And I still haven't done a video. It's like,
Yes,
it's
all
an
the
entire
time.
year that goes by. And so having something else like, okay, maybe you don't feel comfortable on video. Although here's the thing, having you on video, seeing your face, seeing you in person, it creates that connection. And so that's part of your branding. That's part of who you are. And it's one of those things that we don't like seeing ourselves on video because we're not used to seeing ourselves like in 3D. And you just have to get over that.
Yeah,
That's how you show up. You don't go to a meeting going, "Oh, I really don't know how I look. I don't like how I look. I'm not going to go to a meeting." You go to the meeting, right?
yeah. You go, I'm having a bad hair day. Let me use some dry shampoo and call it a day.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's the way it is.
yeah, you don't not show up for life because you don't like how you look. And in video, it's like show up. You show up for life, show up for video. And so it's
True.
important to be able to have that. Real estate, you do have an advantage over mortgage because talk about a very boring topic. Mortgages are like yawn fest. With real estate, you can go and you can, do a Facebook Live showing a property, right? To where you're
A
walking
lender
through.
could do that though too.
Exactly.
A lender
So,
could do that. A lender could talk about, um, I know there's some restrictions too. I think that's the other thing, is
yeah,
there's some restrictions. So, maybe you're not going to be talking about points and rates and all that. But if you have a hobby, for example, maybe you're a boater, you're a golfer, or whatever, position yourself as that lender in that niche. And all you're talking about is whatever your hobby is, and then drop in a few things that you're allowed to drop in, like let's face it, the media has gone nutso with the market is crashing. And those of us that actually went through the crash know it's not crashing.
right.
As a matter of fact, interest rates are still at a historical single digit low.
Yeah,
And that's what really needs to be out there. And so people who use this as leverage for clickbait and vanity views, shame, shame.
right.
But I think that's an opportunity for a lender to have that conversation. But you could say be on the golf course and there could be houses behind you, and you might be able to come up with like a cool scenario as to how much your mortgage payment would be. What do you think your mortgage payment
Right.
would be on this behind me? Or maybe you're in an area that has some like really iconic real estate that, like if you're in LA or Chicago or something, you could talk about like really cool real estate that's not even for sale and say, back when this was built,
Right.
the loan amount was, or the payment was da 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 da. And here are three things you might want to know about this fantastic property.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just ways around it.
Right. Or even getting into location. So when we hopped on the call before we went live, you and I met at the Gary Vaynerchuk event,
Yeah.
Agent 2021, which was actually, I think, in 2019.
Yeah.
But we had several speakers that were speaking at the event. And so we wanted to do a shared house. And so we had found a house and the area, and because you live where you do, it's like, I think you guys want to be closer to the stadium. But because we'd never been there, we didn't know. And so having that local presence, why not go into a neighborhood and say, hey, if you're looking to relocate to Florida, here's a couple of things you need to know about this area. We are close to this, and this is happening. So you're combining that being the digital mayor of your own town, which Gary teaches, with the real estate. And even if
Yeah.
you're a mortgage lender to be able to do that, or
Yeah.
why not bring, your real estate agent along with you where you can do that together, right?
Exactly. You could have that as a banter. And the thing of it is too, you know, with video, once you have the video done, you can turn that into a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn that into a blog post. You can chop it up into smaller pieces. You can chop it up into posts. There's a lot of things that you can do
Right.
with it. And so it's kind of nice when you get a video done because you can really leverage the heck out of it versus the opposite way or constantly doing the short form videos, which I like Instagram, but I don't love it anymore. I just think they don't know what they're doing, and that's
Interesting.
comes on us. And so we're being like, oh, do reels. Okay, now they're getting back, go, we're going to do posts. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm kind of like a fan of the Google suite too, because that's where the SEO comes into play. So if you use YouTube or you use Google My Business or you're a blogger, which I am with Soboka, it's going to show up on Google on the pages. So you will get found. And those are some other ways that you can get known in your community. If you absolutely, absolutely will not do video, you have some other options. I do like to blog.
Right.
And I have the Soboka blog that we just did a refresh on. It has a real estate component to it. But I also have a blog through Chime, which I love. And that's all real estate. But it's a WordPress. So I'm like, have at it. I'll take it too. Why not? Double dip.
So and I love the blogs. Blogs typically are, a place where you have written, but you can also put video on it. So we have the combination of the two.
Yep.
So what are you writing about? So on your blog, what are the things that you're writing about?
So as far as Soboka, we just did the refresh of it so that it was a little more consumer friendly. We write about city guides, location, weekend events, food, bars, lifestyle, real estate. So if you
Nice.
go to it, you'll see all of that, whether you're on your mobile or not. And then tucked right on top is the podcast, which we're relaunching a new season, my YouTube channel, and then I have my real estate, which is linked up to my Chime account because it's much more user friendly for the consumer to search real estate or get a home value report. But I make sure everything's embedded in my blog posts.
Nice.
So it's a variety of things. We hit on the holidays. I have a lot of evergreen content that I can just drop
Nice.
in. So, real estate wise, we have Homestead here in Florida. So I'm getting ready to just redate it. I don't have to rewrite it. I'm just going to bring it up from
Refresh
last
it.
February. Yep.
Yeah.
Plop it in there and then push it out there. Make sure people are doing what they need to do.
See, and that's brilliant. People think they have to always come up with something new, and you can repurpose. In fact, TikTok encourages you to repost your videos, and
Yes,
they
they
want to
do.
know that.
Yes, they do. I love TikTok, but I haven't found my space on there in the sense that some other people who are highly successful with it are. I actually kind of need a space where I'm not working it. Like I have, it's a whole mess on there, but it's my mess. So people do follow
I own
me.
it. I love it.
I own it. I own. Instagram, I've got at the Michele B. That's for realtors. Okay.
Yeah.
So Boca, that's the lifestyle. Like I've got everything else separated. TikTok's just a whole bleh. And I'm like, here we go. I'm having fun, but I'm meeting people and they follow my content. I do a little real estate, a little lifestyle. It's just a mix of everything.
Well,
But
combining it, I think, is the key too, is so you do have a combination of not just real estate, because if you're doing one thing, people can, turn off if they're not interested in that. If you're
yeah,
doing a combination of things, with good taste, obviously,
yeah,
then it keeps them interested.
yeah. And I think the people that niche do an amazing job with that. And I just never found my rhythm on that platform with it because it was during the pandemic. I just didn't get that focused on it. I was like, well, I'll just do this, I'll do whatever. But those people that really get it, like uh, Greg Las Vegas, he gets it. Like he's fantastic with it, you
Yeah.
know? So there's people that I follow. I'm just like, oh, this is great. But I really like TikTok for my entertainment these days.
As do so many people. But it
Yeah.
is a good source. We
Yeah.
have some clients who have done very well with that, that
Yes.
are getting applications from, that are getting business from it, which, that's the thing. People always think social media and your branding that you're doing on social, no matter what it is, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or your Google, it's creating your brand and your awareness. And so as you're getting started with that, it's not about how many leads you're getting. It's not about how, many likes or anything like that. It's a matter of you creating that social presence because people are searching. And
Right.
so they will search for you and they want to
Yes.
see where you're at. So what are, as far as other things that you're seeing other realtors doing in your area, are you working on things together? Because I know you have other realtors in your office. Are you doing things completely solo? Are you working with other lenders?
Yeah. So about almost 2 years ago, I moved over to a cloud-based brokerage. And we have a great collaborative culture, which is wonderful. So
Nice.
I'm actually collaborating on Monday mornings. We do a Zoom call. It's a mastermind. Anyone can come, any brokerage can come, and we have guests on. And we collaborate. We have a Women of Real group, and we have guests on there. We just really got that moving. 1 o'clock on Thursdays. And then, yes, we do collaborate together, whether it is live events or coffee meetups. It's been great
Nice.
actually. And for solo agents out there, it's a little lonely road. So if you can collaborate with people, and maybe it's not in your office, maybe it's a different brokerage, it doesn't matter. Just get out and have conversations. I'll
Right.
tell you, one of the best places for me that I landed during the pandemic was on Clubhouse.
Really?
Oh my God. Remember like the Snapchat, like how we all kind of got to know each other?
Yeah.
Take that, and this was like on steroids. And December 2020, I was allowed into Clubhouse, which was the app. It was the invite only audio, social
Yeah.
audio app. Got in there, and oh my goodness, I have met some amazing agents that I've never met before, Glenda Baker being one of them,
Nice.
and who's a huge TikTok star, and she's wonderful. We ended up in these mastermind rooms, and
Nice.
we are still 3 times a week, if not more, we mastermind. So we're all from different areas. Some of us are in the same areas. It doesn't matter. We've taken that competition and moved that over and said,
I
listen,
love it.
let's
Yeah.
strategize. Let's talk this through. Um, I have a listing and this is what's going on. Or I have a buyer and I can't seem to get this. Like that big topic of conversation right now is Phil M. Jones, the exactly what to say books that he has. So we've
Uh,
had a lot of conversation about that. So the nice thing is that we stay very timely and versus just a video. We actually are live talking every morning at 7 o'clock.
nice.
Yeah, yeah,
And I love the idea of doing a mastermind. So creating a mastermind group where you truly are, working through whether it's talking about properties, for our audience, talking about loan programs, all of those kind of things. Creating that community is so important to be able to do that and to do problem solving. And you can do it virtually. So it doesn't have
yeah,
to be something that's
absolutely.
live.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. Yep.
So tell me about your podcast because we have a lot on the lending side that are getting into a podcast. We've just put together and produced some podcasts for clients. What are you talking about on your podcast?
So I've had my podcast probably since 2018 and it was scattered. Then I went to Podfest and I understood I had to have more of a format, more of a structure, have my guests. When I started, I was doing one-offs. Instead, I'll do my podcast and block out like 3 or 4 episodes so that I've got enough to roll. One of the things I did though is I reinvented the name this year called Real Estate Reinvention Podcast. It's
Nice.
mostly moving forward going to be women entrepreneurs, women in real estate, and tying back into niches and how you pivoted in your business, whether it's realtor, lender, or a womanpreneur. In the past, I've had some great guests, and we talk about all things real estate, marketing, branding, social media. But as I have morphed, I really like talking to the niche side of how you can grow your business, because that is my niche is probate and seniors to downsize. That's something I focus on a lot, and I
Nice.
have since 2012. And I had to pivot after the housing market crash. So I'm kind of going back to my roots with information. I'm not going to do it every week because I just don't have the bandwidth, but I probably will do it once or twice a month where I'll drop episodes.
Perfect.
And I think the key to starting a podcast is knowing what your vision is.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want as guests? It is my understanding from when I went to Podfest, women prefer shorter episodes than men. Men are okay with the longer ones. You can go solo all the time. I use this app on my phone when I go solo called the Anchor app.
Mm-hmm.
I use Buzzsprout as my platform, and
Perfect.
it goes out to everything. I have a mic here. I don't even use it. I just do this.
Yeah.
I am so simple with my delivery. I'm a true Aries. I'm like, let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. I don't need all the bells and whistles. I don't need a podcast setup studio. I feel like
Right.
as long as your information is badassy,
Yeah.
you're going to be good to go.
Yeah.
And look at the trends and decide who you want your guests to be. Sometimes you'll have people say, "Oh, I want to be on your podcast." It may
Yeah.
not be a good fit,
Yeah.
and be okay with saying no. Come up with
Mm.
questions and ask your guest, "Hey, what would you like to talk about?
Yep.
What's important to you?" Sometimes I get caught off guard, and I'll be quite honest with you. I had someone recently ask me to be on a podcast, Zoom, whatever, but wanted to talk about the rent to build market. Okay. That's
Hmm.
not my niche.
Yeah.
I'd have to sit there and research it.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like not comfortable because it's not my jam. So I
Yeah.
said, here are four other things I can talk about.
Perfect.
It didn't fly. And I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So know your audience, know who you want as a guest. If you're going to
Right.
be a guest, know if you're going to be talking about things, know your topic. And also I like the fun questions at the end of podcasts, but sometimes it goes on too long. So just like one or two, like one of my favorite ones is, if you could break bread with anyone dead or alive, who would that be? And it's always so interesting what people say.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And you can research that. And now with Chat GPT, the AI platform, you literally can come up with podcast scripts,
Mm-hmm.
podcast captions, podcast, whatever, so you can make it really easy on
Right.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And podcasts are one of my favorite things to do because you don't have to have a PowerPoint. You can have a list of questions, or just have a conversation. It's like inviting you on, and I know you're going to have good content, and we're going to just have a discussion. So you don't have to come up with something. So if you're afraid of doing a video, you can start a podcast,
Yeah.
and it can be a conversation, and you can talk about definitely come up with whatever it is as far as a plan on what that looks like, and then a series of questions, and then putting that out is good. Anchor is great right now because they're really encouraging people to get onto Anchor, so they're promoting podcasts.
Yep.
And their platform is good. They have a nice landing page on there. We just put a
Yeah.
podcast on there, so there's great resources available, and it's free.
And it's free. And you know what? Sometimes, who does this really good? Marie Forleo. She does these like 5 minute, 7 minute podcasts.
Yeah.
There's some other women podcasters I follow, and it's just like, that's just sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. Don't feel like you got to do this 30-minute freaking podcast.
Mm-mm.
Like how I got started with podcasting was doing Alexa flash briefings. talking. So that's how I got started.
Back in the day, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
We were all doing it. Me, Dustin Brome, Massive Agent Podcast. We were all doing Frasier. We're all doing our little Alexa Flash briefings. Thing's gonna be yakking at me. But you know, that was great training
Right.
because you could only do it for what? It was 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was something like really dumb.
Yeah.
And so, you know what I ended up doing? I would take them and I would repurpose them on my podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but that's also when I learned not to talk about dates and you know what I'm saying? Like you didn't want to like timestamp your
Yeah.
podcast unless you
Yeah.
really wanted to. So
Yeah.
I kind of learned how to do that. I had a professional introduction done and I finally canned it. And I just do my own, you know, I just do it, put a little music behind it, boom, boom. But here's the thing. If you do a lifestyle podcast like So Boca, which we're going to be starting a different season and a different vibe with that, you can be your own sponsor. So
Right.
sponsor your own podcast. You could be the sponsor of your podcast,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You can monetize all of this, by the way. This isn't
Yeah.
stuff you need to do for free. You can monetize stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And use it for promotion. I mean, it's good marketing, things like that. All good information. So many things to talk about. We will have to have you back on the show again. I absolutely love it. How can people find you? I know you're a real estate agent in Florida. So if you're in Florida, for our lenders who are in Florida, you want a great agent, how can they find you, Michele?
So you can find me on So Boca on Instagram. That's an easy one. That's really like S3O's Boca, soboca.com. I'm on all the channels. You can follow my podcast, Real Estate Reinvention. And I'm in South Florida. So the visual is I am in between Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach on the east side. So I am over south of West Palm, but north of Miami in beautiful Boca Raton, Florida.
It is beautiful there. And I'll be going to Florida, but to the Tampa side next week. So I will miss seeing you. It's a pretty area. So Michele, thank you so much for joining us. I truly love seeing you. It's great seeing you again, and we'll have you back.
Thank you.
Yeah. And make sure and follow Michele, get ideas. That's the whole thing. If you want to find out how to help agents out, follow the agents that are doing things on social, and then duplicate some of those. Those are great things to do. Absolutely. And for those of you who are watching us live, next week we will be streaming live, and I'm still in Atlanta, so we're going to be doing the launch of the VA video planner. So for those of you who are doing VA loans, we're going to be at Equity Prime Mortgage with Eddie Perez, Marshall Sparkman, who's my co-author on the VA Home Loan Video Planner, is going to be there, and we will launch that. That's going to be live on Amazon. So make sure and tune in then. And thanks for watching Mortgage Influencers. Michele, thanks so much.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.